All right, we're here in West Chelsea, literally directly under the High Line at 505 West 19th. I have Reese Pozgay, our guest for today, who's meeting me upstairs at apartment 8D with Jeremy Swillinger from LEVEL Group. Let's go check it out. All right, Reese, you ready to rock? Let's hit it.
Hi, come on in, guys. Good to see you, bud. How are you?
Always a pleasure.
Hey, I'm Jeremy from LEVEL Group. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to 8D at 505 West 19th Street. You guys are in the middle of West Chelsea's prime art district. This is where people from all across the globe come to curate some of their art portfolio. This centers right on the High Line, if you guys are familiar with that. One of the newest public parks in all of Manhattan. This is a luxurious condo. It boasts 35 apartments throughout. It's got full-time doorman, full-time super, got a 3,000 square foot private gym, comes with storage, there's bike room, all the essentials to live in prime New York City. So what you're looking at for apartment 8D, this is the highest floor, one bedroom in all of the building. Not only that, because there's two towers that center over the High Line, this is the only northern facing apartment, one bedroom, and it's the highest floor. So you got the jaw-dropping 180-degree views, north, straight to Hudson Yards, straight to the Empire State Building. You got the High Line to look at. If you get bored, you're gonna sit here for hours upon hours just to take in all the view. And then you got your eastern view. So come morning time, you're gonna have your sunrise. It'll help you get out of bed if you want. You got these 8-foot mechanical windows. These are all sheer windows, so come sunset, you're gonna lower them. They'll still bring in some sun. It'll be nice and cool. This building was designed by Thomas Juel Hansen, a renowned Denmark architect who's known for creating 157, this building, as well as designing David Yurman's home, Chef Jean George's home. If you guys know Damon Dash's home, he created all the designs for their homes. It's pretty awesome. And he's known for standing the test of time for his design. Not only that, but you'll see in the building, he's known for designing something sleek, sexy, and very cooling to your nerves. And that is gonna be around, that style is gonna be around for decades to come.
I noticed when we walked in, there was a gallery in the lobby.
The building does boast its own portfolio of art. So it's curated by a couple people in the building, probably members of the board. So there is a rotating basis of art collection. So this apartment, it's a large, oversized 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. Just at 1,100 square feet. You've got 10-foot ceilings. The design of this apartment boasts absolute black granite tops. You've got the 5-piece high-end appliances, Miele dishwasher, Miele oven. You actually have two stoves, or two ovens over here. This is a convection oven. You've got the brass copper. You've got absolute black granite with a couple seats on it. You've got a wine fridge down in the corner. And then this is complemented by this gray oak. And then around this, you've got this beautiful brass that is gonna stand the test of time around.
All right, Jeremy, so we're standing in a $2.85 million 1-bedroom.
That's right.
I see the brass finishings, that's beautiful, but what else makes a 1-bedroom apartment worth $2.8 million?
Well, listen, this is 1,100 square feet. It's a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom with pristine high-end finishes. You're in the heart of Chelsea. You go just a block away in a brand new development and you're paying slightly more in a purchase price, but you're facing a brick wall. This, you've got the views. This, you've got the open layout. And let me just show you one more thing, the bedroom. Come take a look. You start off with Thomas Juel Hansen's designed sexy, sexy bathroom. You've got Bianco Dolomite flooring. You've got the brown black backsplash. You've got a private water closet. And then, come on in. There's enough room for everybody. You got this huge shower, high pressure water. I mean, Charlie can do a TikTok video in here, right? There's enough people for, you can have a Coliseum.
What's up, man? Let's see what's happening.
Yeah. Not only that, if you want some private downtime, again, light a candle. Relax in this deep soaking tub. It's beautiful, it's quiet.
Wow, is this all brass?
All brass.
Amazing. All right, let's see the bedroom.
The apartment boasts 4 closets, 2 of them are walk-in. This, again, 10-foot ceilings, split system central air conditioning system, And again, when you wake up and you lift your head up off the pillow, you're staring straight north and east over to the Empire State Building, which, by the way, the new feature of the building to compete with, the Hudson Yards and the Chrysler Building. Every night starting at like 6:30, there's a light show on the top of the Empire State Building.
That's the view.
It's
not bad. Not bad.
You get used to this?
That is a really nice view.
Listen, you're in the heart of Chelsea. You've got the Art District. You've got the Meatpacking District just a few blocks south. You want to change it up? Go a few blocks north to Hudson Yards. You got Union Square. You got Chelsea Piers. You want to go hit some balls? Jump on a boat, take you around Manhattan Island? You're just a few blocks away. This is the prime location, including the ability to walk a few blocks west to go to the E train, 19 train, and Union Square train sets.
So I guess when we're talking about price, and I mean, obviously $2.85 million for a one bedroom is a hefty ask, but you're not just buying an apartment. You're buying what it sounds like is location.
You're buying a lifestyle here. The heart of West Chelsea offers all the conveniences and the ability to have this je ne sais quoi of being within a true neighborhood that is sought after by the global population. It's quite amazing to live here.
I love it. And Jeremy, let me ask you, what is your favorite thing about the apartment, the building, just 505 West 19th, Unit 8D? What is your favorite thing when you come here to show this unit?
Well, listen, I'm always thinking of how will my investment play out in the future. Some of these big high-rises, you might have 3 or 4 of the same exact line apartments on the market at any given time. This is a one of a kind. You got the corner 180-degree views, and if something comes on the market in this line, guess what? It's not going to be the same. Upstairs is the penthouse, I think it's a duplex or triplex, so that's no competition. Downstairs, you're getting blocked by the view, so this is the only unit of its kind, of the size in the building, facing north and east. So that's why I think this is going to stand the test of time and hold its value, if not increase a little bit more.
Jay Swilly from Level Group, always a pleasure, my man.
It is, man. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
If you want more information on 505 West 19th, 8D, follow Jeremy at the Swillinger team on IG, right there. My man.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yes, amazing. You too. Welcome.
All right, this week we're here with my man Reese Pozgay, Jeremy Swillinger from Level Group, and today we're going to talk about where these guys have been, where they are, and how they got there. But first, I want to go ahead and thank this week's sponsor, True Beauty Brooklyn. They're the most amazing estheticians in Brooklyn. You can find them in Greenpoint, in Williamsburg. Click the link below and go check out True Beauty Brooklyn. True Beauty Brooklyn.
Do you get a facial there or what?
That's where I go for all my facials. They do
Mani-pedis?
No mani-pedis. They do facials. They're estheticians. They actually they do my
Botox?
extracting.
Oh, gotcha.
Extracting. Yeah.
Well, you look good.
Thank you. At this age, you gotta take care of the skin. Yeah.
Self-care.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
It's extracting, exfoliating. I just, I Googled what does Pharrell do, and kind of just got to go with whatever his regimen is, because I think that guy's like 50 and looks like he's 24.
Yeah. That's what $500 creams do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's worth it when you're on camera like this.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so let's start. We'll start with Reese. What are you doing right now? What's going on work-wise? Tell us about yourself.
Oh man, where do I start? So currently run marketing and own channels for Revlon, the beauty brand, as well as Alameda, the beauty brand. So, everything social, digital, every bit of content that lives in between, experiential, events, how we bring it all together. My focus is really kind of like, where do we hit 360 consumers? It's obviously changing heavily, so it's a lot of, is it TikTok now?
What does that mean,
Video.
360 consumers?
Well, that's kind of like my special sauce, is always thinking about that way. In my previous life, I owned my own agency, had that for years, and then before that, was at Marc Jacobs for over 10 years. So the whole idea for me, because I came up from digital and retail, because I had one of our lines, is where are you hitting consumer across everything? So you're not doing segmented ads or, segmented social campaigns. It's really, what is their campaign? How's it hitting on social, digital, events, in-store, online?
And what does that mean, segmented social campaigns?
Well, basically, I mean, like, there's like silos in companies, right? Like, big companies are the worst, and they've been built up with all these things that didn't exist before. Digital wasn't there, D2C wasn't there, social media, there's a new platform every year. So, like, how do you hit them in the same way with different content across different channels? So, you know, a lot of people in the old way were creating for Instagram, letting it trickle down to everything. What's the point of me following your Facebook if I already follow your Instagram and you're posting the same thing the same day, the same way? TikTok has broken that mold a lot, where you can't use Instagram content, you can't use Facebook content. It's a completely different way of shooting video. It's a different length, it's shorter. YouTube's long form, TikTok's story short form. So you really gotta treat your content differently. You gotta create a content factory to be able to shoot just a boatload of shit, frankly, to be able to hit different angles for different channels and give a reason to have a unique experience kind of across everywhere. And the same goes for out-of-home advertising, online. Where do you have text on things? Where do you not? Where are you using influencer? How are the two bleeding together? And that's kind of what it is now.
Did you get that?
I mean, I'm just thinking how this is a direct conversation with real estate. I mean,
Of course.
we're in a $2.85 million one bedroom. I'm not going to be advertising to the segment of the Upper East Side family to buy this apartment.
Right.
So it's all about segmented advertising in the social media. It's different sectors,
Yep.
and why spend money on someone that's never going to buy this?
Well, and where are you hitting it,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're not gonna probably find the 2.85 buyer on TikTok. I mean, maybe you will. There's a lot of rich young kids now who are killing it on NFTs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, you're really looking to hit people where they're at, right? Like, an older
Yeah.
consumer is not necessarily on TikTok. They may be on Facebook or Pinterest or looking at inspo for real estate,
Right.
design.
Yeah, I mean,
Just getting your entry points.
your way of advertising has changed in your industry.
Right.
It's the same thing for ours.
Exactly.
I mean, we weren't doing this 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
No, not even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally just started this show within the last few weeks.
There you go.
And you're already a YouTube sensation. Look at it
We'll
happen.
get to that. Hit the like button. So for this listing, are you doing any form of social advertising?
I've done, first thing I do is sort of do a teaser ad on Instagram and Facebook to sort of give people not the full scope of what's coming to the market, but just a quick glimpse to catch the eye and catch their interest. And then once it came live, then I went viral, so to speak, and launched a full video tour, a video walkthrough, and full photo shots all throughout the different campaigns, social. But I'm sort of old school still. I still do the guerrilla marketing.
So let me ask you,
Guerrilla marketing's new school.
Yeah, I send out letters.
Out of home, that's
There's a lot of people that-
coming back. It
there's
used to be
a-
TV, now it's back to out of home.
There's a
billboards,
lot of people that aren't on social media that
Exactly.
want to know about this property, so I send letters.
so Jeremy has actually done one of my favorite, well, let me backtrack. I hate mailers. I hate sending out mailers to people's homes saying just listed, just sold, any of that. Sometimes they work though. Jeremy actually has the coolest one that I've ever seen before. Tell him about
I
it.
think that might be the coolest one I've ever done. In fact, it was actually my first advertiser campaign when I went out on my own. And I
That's
thought-
how you knew. That's how you knew you had a future.
when I sent out the mailing, I thought there's liability, and I'm liable to get sued within the next 2 weeks. And what I did, all the parents are gonna love this. I bought a bunch of
45s.
bunch of 45s. I literally bought $3,000 worth of them down on, I think it was 10th Street in the Village, this old record shop. And like, they weren't doing anything. They were trying to sell them for 10 cents a piece. So I bought bins of them. And what I did is I had a listing on 110th Street, 532 West 110th Street, right off of Broadway. This is before that area had some Trader Joe's, before it came together, right? I took these records and I cracked them in half. And of course, I sawed off the edges so you wouldn't cut your fingers, right? Because records are pretty sharp.
Safety
I
first.
cut them in half and I put a sticker on it that said, "I'm breaking records everywhere." And I sent it out to every single person in the neighborhood. I didn't think I was getting any calls. I got literally 100 calls. Some of them were just, "Dude, that's a really cool idea." Others were like, "Don't send me this crap." Others were like, "Hey man, I'm gonna keep your information, for when when I need you." But I think it was brilliant marketing, and that was my first successful campaign. But
And I love that. Yeah, I hate like a just listed or here's what I've sold in your area.
yeah, you standard postcard.
Yeah, it's all generic, but
Yeah, you gotta cut through the clutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, think outside the box, and that's what our business is all about.
Exactly.
How do you stand out in the world of clutter and, copy paste type advertising?
That's the whole thing. Some of my best campaigns were when it was like, you got $0 now. We cut all your media budget. Like, what are you gonna do? And it's like, well, we're gonna get creative.
But it's also taking risks.
Yeah,
I mean, I
of course.
listen, I would have to call an attorney really quickly. If I got that one call, I slice my finger if I'm opening the mail.
Well, yeah,
You do
that's
put
what I said.
fragile on the front.
That's how you know it's a good campaign. My favorite campaign I ever did literally was we broke, I mean, I won't say I can't say what it is, but we basically were breaking the law and we were inviting our entire audience to break the law.
Can you give us more?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It was
How
like,
long ago was this?
This was, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, but it was at Marc Jacobs. We did,
At the butt end of Marc Jacobs.
it was actually earlier on. It was a bit before I left, so maybe it was even 7, 8 years ago. But it was we did something called street marketing. Basically, our budget got cut, and they're like, we got to do this still. And we're like, all right, what are we gonna do? And essentially, we had enough money to still run a wild posting campaign. So we took to the streets and basically just guerrillaed across a bunch of cities, putting up the posters, and also putting out like a digital downloadable version. And we just invited our audience to essentially tag our ads.
You mean like
Right.
physically tag?
Or digitally or whatever. We got more entries, UGC, anything of my life of someone just putting like a mustache on Bette Midler or like full blown graphic designs of like turning Beth Ditto into Ursula or whatever. Like crazy, creative, amazing things.
I love that.
But what it ended with was people literally posting thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of our ad to the internet when people don't want to see ads on the internet anymore. And it blew up for us with less money. I mean, we basically made more reach, more than we would have done with paid spend, everything, because people were like, yeah, let me go graffiti this and show them what's up, and maybe I'll catch the eye, and maybe I'll get a repost, and it worked.
Isn't this one solo advertisement sitting in this $2.85 million one bedroom for
Exactly.
sale
To an extent.
at 505 West 19th Street, apartment 8D?
Yeah, you just need to let us tag it now.
Yeah.
Hashtag, can you click on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Subtle plug. Yeah. All right, let's touch back on Marc Jacobs. So you were Marc for how long?
About 10 years. A little 10 years.
And were you a Marc like right after college? So we graduated when, 2008?
So I had a little break. I mean, I went and basically was finding my way in New York. I had a college marketing agency in college, so started kind of going back to event nightlife. I worked the door at Norwood for a while. At that time, I was working every day, 9 to 6. Mostly, I just fell into like temporals at like Condé Nast and whatever, kind of finding my way. And then I worked nights at Norwood. Slept like 3 hours, went out every night. It was good. It was good at that age, right?
So it was like what, like 2000, like summer
2008, 2009. And then I did land at Marc Jacobs where I said I'd never be in fashion, but I liked the story. The founder, Robert Duffy, was really inspiring to me. He had like started Marc by Marc and Contemporary and blah, 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 blah. And so I went there and started answering the phones. I felt like it was a big step back, and that was my foot in. And then that was 6 months, and then I caught the eye of Robert, became his traveling assistant, and then their business manager, and then I started absorbing departments, and then
You
kind of
just
flew from there.
you sped up on traveling assistant. Traveling assistant. How many days a month were you traveling, and where were you traveling?
At that time, it was crazy, but I was probably here half the time, maybe less. And it depended where we went, right? Like some days we would go, some trips we would go and we'd gone for like 30, 40 days. And the way we kind of did it was wherever we were going, whether there was like an event in Tokyo or if we had to do a store opening in Shanghai, we would just bang out all the stores there. So it'd be like Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore, Vietnam.
Right, so you say traveling, like you're not traveling to Austin or Chicago.
Well, there's some of that too.
Right.
We had a store in Chicago, so love to the Chicago fan for sure.
That's exciting.
But we did a lot of moving, that's for sure. And then like after a certain amount of time, I got to start going alone and doing things and meeting with partners and, quickly kind of elevated my role there and absorbed things. I was there at the time the social media started, so I started all the channels. I basically took us from E2C or branded site to e-com, and that was kind of how I absorbed all those things. And I was also streetwear kid, so I had like the special items end.
Right. And you were there for how long?
10 years.
10 years. Year 1 being the beginning, year 10 the end. When did you kind of feel like you were, or I'm assuming you did, because everybody in a 10-year career, 10-year position kind of feels stuck down at some point. When did you kind of hit, I'm assuming, now traveling to Singapore, Tokyo sounds amazing. When did you think you hit a wall?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question. Like for me, there wasn't much of that. Like I was in a really empowered spot. Props to Robert. He was like big on sink or swim, and he gave everyone a chance. He didn't really care how old you were. So I you know, my career skyrocketed there because of him. Honestly, when it hit a wall was when we kind of transitioned. We did the traditional kind of restructuring, tried to corporatize it a bit. Things changed.
When you say corporatize it, I mean, this is Marc Jacobs, Marc by Marc Jacobs, started by Robert. It wasn't already corporatized?
Well, you know, we were LVMH owned. We were kind of the bad boy outsider because we were the only real like U.S. brand, so we were kind of out of the eye of the Paris end of it a bit. But we got so big that we had to, right? But part of that was, you know, there was a merging of Marc and Collection, and Marc by Marc, I mean, like things just changed. We tried to kind of get like, you know, more structure internally. A lot of this like promote from within and whatnot got a little bit less or so. So I think that was kind of what I mean, because it lost a little bit of the heart. Like part of the interesting things that we really had a family in those early ends, and basically like everyone came on these travels with us. We would bring managers, like the whole thing was we basically like teleported our brand DNA to a different country where they may not understand it. And yes, it was like a crazy day at the store, ripping down walls, redoing the whole thing, but then we all got dinner, we all partied together a little bit. It was different times when that was a little bit more appropriate than it probably is today. Like there were some stories I certainly can't tell that fall into that, but like wild times around the world, right? You know, when you've got 20 kids or whatever running around, eating, drinking, being married.
You're saying you would transport 20 people from the New York?
Well, no, not necessarily. We usually have like a couple people, like, you know, whether it's like a manager from one store is a great representation of what being a manager,
Okay.
our visual person, like it was like kind of a spattering of everyone. And we also created a new model, which like now it's all you see, but we built what was our social thing, which was unsupported at the time, wasn't seen as luxury, just straight from below. So our videographer we got from one of the stores, right? We had a designer or an editor who came from the stores, our photographer, like everyone basically came up through, and it's like, you want to do this, like, all right, take a shot at it. But they would travel with us. Our models were all employees. We would be in Morocco filming, you know, because we were there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's what it is today, right? It's all basically like organic, authentic content. How do you make it organic, bring it together, you know? But it was all run and gun. Like we came with a suitcase full of as much product as we could take, and then we figured out like, all right, what fun stories and funny narratives can we post?
So you would go and I guess kind of do like what am I trying to say? I guess you would kind of open stores and educate and bring these stores to life in all these different cities around the world?
Yeah, for sure. But we also just like, again, it was a really close family there, so like we visited every store throughout the year. So that was part of the travel. Like even if it was open, our actual own stores at the time were like Paris, London, Milan, so we would do that like basically once a month, right? In every fashion week. And then they were also, you know, Marc and Robert were still involved with Louis Vuitton then, so we would go for that. And like, there was a lot of time in a really close family within like our store network.
Did
together.
Anybody ever get arrested on any of these trips?
No answer on that. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
How different were your campaigns when you would go to like Shanghai versus where you went to Paris and set up shop? How different were the dynamics of the work environment and the actual, like, I guess you're doing a branding campaign on each site?
There was definitely differences. It wasn't that much though, because we were bringing that in New York wherever we went, right? That was like part of why we brought that. Like we were a New York brand, we wanted to bring that aesthetic to it. And that was what everyone else wanted around the world, right? It's all changed a lot, but the one biggest difference was like specifically China, they had very different social platforms, so we had to treat it differently. They also kind of reutilized our stuff, so part of the model was figuring out how they could like repurpose the content we already shot for their local like platform needs.
Is New York slipping when it comes to being one of the central locations for fashion over the past 5-10 years?
I don't know about that. I mean, there's like, it's always Paris and New York, right? Like sure, London, it's like, it's always the kind of same places. I think fashion's just changing, right? You're seeing the whole thing change where there's a lot of like up and coming designers. There's a lot of like hype heat that like sparks hot, but then people don't really get into the old formats. and they're trying to figure out how to break down the formats, right? Like even the timing of Fashion Week, you're seeing people not really wanting to even stay in it. Like the runway shows aren't happening the same way. They're doing it in a different city, for example, or they're doing like a different thing where they're flying everyone in. I think that like the structure is changing for sure, but it's always going to be New York.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of online brands, like Somersault and like
exactly.
Allbirds, like it's.
And they're not doing shows, right? It's all changing. It's like it's more events, and like especially with those brands, you're seeing the whole thing where like it's, you know, if they're smart and they're really diving into that new world, instead of doing a show, it's like a house and a content creation house, and TikTokers are living there, and like they're just pumping things out, and people are meeting each other. They're running dinners. It's a week instead of like blowing a ton of money on like a massive show design and all that stuff that we used to do, right? And then some brands still do, and luxury.
So are they not spending the money, or they're just spending it differently?
It depends on the brand, right? I mean, I think that both. I think a lot of people are still spending plenty. You know?
Is a lot of this going into influencer marketing?
For sure.
Right.
Oh yeah, the amount of spend that has pivoted there has been just huge. Like you can't not have an influencer budget.
And how do you manage the ROI on influencer marketing?
I mean, it's not all that different from a lot of the ad stuff, right? I mean, you're looking at click-through rate, you're looking at like amount of clicks to site, you're seeing how much positive or negative sentiment there is. I think the tricky thing is like that's changing too. Like the curve just went insane over the past 5 to 10 years where, you know, it was celebrities, and then celebrities are kind of whack because people think that like that's fake and that's the advertisement. Then it was quote unquote bloggers before they all became influencers, right? And that was, the first wave was that because it was authentic, right? It wasn't like here's a full look and it's the pants, the jacket, the suit, because no one shops that way. Instead, all of a sudden these bloggers pop because it's like, well, I've got this crazy fur coat or whatever it is from Balenciaga, but then this is my like ripped AC/DC shirt that I've had for 10 years, and these, you know,
And that just feels so much more authentic.
and that's real. You buy one piece, but then you match it with your thing, and then that got cooler. But then it just got smaller and smaller, and I think now you're really seeing that. Like it went from macro influencers, and then they're all now hashtag ad. I'm selling this. Buy this toothbrush, and you're like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have probably cursed on this, but like,
No, I didn't curse as much.
But then it goes.
And it's funny because when I see someone who makes a post and it starts with hashtag ad, doesn't that make someone automatically
Pass, right?
Just swipe or just like turn off the I don't need this toothbrush.
But you don't even
just
need
said
it anymore, right? Like you know it's an ad, and I think that's where you're seeing it get smaller and smaller. Now it's like nano, right? So like if you ask me, I'll take 100 small multi-thousand people versus one person with 1 million followers.
What's
any day of the
multi-thousand?
week. I'm saying followers.
Right,
You know, like,
right,
it could
so
be like,
multi-thousand.
I'm fine with people under 10, especially if you're talking about TikTok content creators. It's about the content. Give me the content. I'll use my channel to do it, but like, how do we blast that? You know what I mean? But then I think you take it the other way. Like my thought, and again, I think the pendulum is going to swing again, and it's probably going to go back to celebrity one day. It already is a little bit, but I think that
go
like,
back to celebrity, kind of like the Ed Hardy days.
no, but like in a different way, right?
LeBron
Like,
James, we're going to the
Yeah.
league.
I mean, you're seeing celebrities have their own brands now, right? That's the thing, but they're not actually their own brand a lot of the time. It's like under the guise of someone else, right? I think that you're gonna see that start to happen again, but I actually think it's gonna be like smaller than that. Like you're starting to see Instagram, everyone roll out these things. I think it's gonna be user to user. Like the whole formula of the thing is like you're more likely to buy from your friend, right? And then like a relatable influencer. And then like celebrity goes so far up, because if you're telling me like, yo, I did this toothpaste, it's crazy, like you want this? I'm like, all right, I'll get that toothpaste, right?
Yeah.
If I see it on a hashtag ad, I'm like, well, that's sponsored. If I see it on like a true ad with a celebrity, it's like, all right, they're paying for my eyes. You know, but I think it's gonna go super micro. I think that people are actually gonna start to be able to make money off of their friends. Like Instagram today just rolled out, anyone in the world can now tag products the way that like an influencer can, right? So
Someone with
imagine-
250 followers could tag tag Rag and Bone
Sure.
on a shirt they're wearing.
Imagine the next level of that is just monetization. So basically, if everyone's tagging every item they have, obviously the brands are going to love that to start with, but then if you're actually registering clicks to their website from that, it's the same as affiliate marketing. Like say you make a penny, but who cares?
Well, it is affiliate marketing.
Yeah, it is affiliate marketing, but I think like bring that down to the user level. I think that's where it's going next, and it's going to be like, how do you basically influence that?
I've had some great, I don't know if they're called retweets, but comments from some of my Instagram postings for like kitchens. Well, I'll hashtag or do the @ and link like Melee or Sub-Zero, and I'll do it directly to the manufacturer, and they'll actually comment, thanks for the poster.
Exactly.
And sometimes they'll put it on their page.
Well, and that's part of the game.
And that's just a small, I'm a
UGC.
small little advertiser, right? This is the big guys that are hashtagging my.
But what Reese is talking about is you are the guy that he wants.
Yeah, but take it one step further, right? Imagine if you had that same tag instead of Melee coming in and being like, "Yo, like, thanks for posting," because that's like community management, UGC, like that is where it's going. Like people want to see real people posting. But imagine if someone clicks that or like posts to you like, "Yo, I love this. I bought it. It's great."
Mhm.
That's money in your pocket, right? You just did the affiliate marketing for them without their really wanting it. And then if you could start actually monetizing that and people go back to tagging, because that kind of went away, right? Like if you don't want to be an influencer, you don't want to look like you're like chasing followers, people aren't tagging anymore, you know, like John Elliott, here's
Yeah,
my
I think
phone, like-
I'll hit swipe right on something if I see the shop now thing pop up.
Right, exactly.
That's when it's like, all right, it's paid content, not
Yeah,
true.
I don't want
to
to
be
be
everything though.
Right, you feel like
That will be
everything
everything.
being sponsored is no bueno.
No, there's different ways to do it. Like
Yeah.
if you go to Houzz, Houzz, and you do like, I want an updated kitchen.
What's house?
It's an app, it's a website if
Right.
you want designs for a house or something, or for your apartment, or you want to do some renovations. And it'll show a still photo of a kitchen, and there'll be like a little tag that swings on the refrigerator and you cook on it. There'll also be a tag on like the faucet, or a tag of the table in the picture.
Right.
So it's not shop now, it's click and it'll take you to the
And then you can see
random
all-
small brand
That's exactly what I'm
website.
talking about. I mean, you want to take it more modern, like to what's happening right now, the metaverse, right? There's companies, a company I'm very interested, that's basically scanning every single item you own, your cat, your dog, your trash can, the stained carpet, like whatever it is. But imagine that you could scan everything, you create your environment in the metaverse, you bring everything in, right? And it's like, I want this lamp, I want this couch, I want this countertop. That all comes in. People are in your place, they're like, oh, I actually want that in my metaverse house. They bring it over, you're getting hit with coin, you're getting hit with crypto, like you're getting hit
In
with
their
blockchain.
digital home,
Mm-hmm.
not their actual home.
Everything.
Are you then able to purchase it for your actual home?
Well, that's the question. I mean, like, that's basically what these people are trying to fuel now. It's like the idea if you want your actual thing, you can scan it in with 360 photo, bring it
Right,
into your
wasn't,
environment.
I know
And then someone else may want that same thing, and then they are basically paying. It's all through coin and whatnot,
Man Happy
blockchain.
did their metaverse store where you could then buy a shirt and then you get shipped that said shirt, right?
Right. And well, there's a lot of that happening, and like that's where you're seeing it like just start. Future though is literally like imagine this. You want this exact apartment in your exact metaverse home, and you scan in every single one of these items, the plant, like the bookends, and then every piece of that becomes something that someone else may want. If they do take it, they're paying.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a portion of that coin. It stacks
So
up.
getting like a commission.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, it's an NFT basically, right? People are buying into the same item.
You have it in your home. I want to buy it. I click it. I purchase it. Jeremy sees it in my home. He sees it. He clicks it and purchases it. Do you, in this format, get a cut of that Jeremy's purchase?
I mean, you could, right? We'll see how it rolls out, but like that's the whole idea. Is yes, it's similar to an NFT, like in that regard, where it's like here's the item, a bunch of people can technically be buying the item, which raises the price because the coin is backing on it. So like there's somebody who basically is like owning that actual coin or that platform that is making the most money, but
Sounds like
you're going to
a
get that too.
Herbalife pyramid thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a multi-level marketing.
Exactly.
So are NFTs basically multi-level marketing for for younger generation?
I don't want to speak as though I'm any NFT expert. Like I think it's an interesting foray into selling the blockchain more than anything. I don't know if it's a bubble or not. I have my feelings on it. I think there's definitely people that are going to make a whole lot of money right now off of it. But I do think that it's a way of exposing the world to the blockchain in a more interesting way, and that has an immense value because whatever it comes, the more people that are like in the weeds trying to figure out what it is, the better it can go, the better it can be for crypto, the better it can be for everything. So it'll be interesting to see what it is. I mean, there's a lot of Beanie Babies references, which I don't think are wrong, but we'll see what happens.
We'll talk about when the federal government starts regulating it.
No,
Yeah.
fair.
Well, that's like the common conversation is what happens when the government steps in and lays a massive tax on it.
It will.
Yeah, but yes and no. I mean, again, I want to run some of that stuff. I don't want to play an expert at all, but I think that in the end, like, what's the worst? It becomes stock. You have like the same long-term cap game situation. Like, that's okay. It still is like a completely more, like, there's more utility to crypto. There's like different ways to use it, and I think in the end, like, the future is going to be there one way or another. I just hope it doesn't get too messy where there's like a billion things and people are trying to trade in different currencies that don't exist in different places, and like how it all will work. Again, I don't know enough, but I'm definitely dabbling, I'll tell you that.
You already are several currencies. You have Dogecoin.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have several currencies for sure.
Yeah, I'm big on the Terra. I'm big on the Luna.
I'm doing my first Bitcoin deal.
There we go.
Okay, tell us about that.
California investor buying something in Long Island City. We asked for proof of assets.
Which building?
One Skyline Tower and the other is 3 Court Square. So 2. He's made a ton of money. He's made, you know.
Would he be interested in something in City Lights?
Yes.
The city lights in Long Island City.
Yeah.
What, you trying to sell it?
That's got very high carrying costs.
I have a buddy who has a unit in there. He's had for, I don't know, 10 years. And I keep telling him, like, he's been trying to sell it. I'm like, listen, you want to sell it? I'll get you a ton of press. Just make it only for sale for Bitcoin. And he's been on CNBC a lot. He's a Bitcoin trader for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if he wants to end up doing it. I told him, you know, let's talk. This was like 2 months ago. I told him, let's talk in like 3-4 months,
mm-hmm.
and this wouldn't be a bad idea to make it so you're only taking Bitcoin for the sale.
All right, I'm not mad at that. I think there's more of that happening.
Reese,
I'm curious how purchasing in Bitcoin get properties
it's been done.
Contingent on appraisals and how.
Yeah, exactly. Where you get this dollar cap and what the fluctuation.
Right, but Bitcoin's pretty stable in like that 40.
32 of them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's stable. Yeah, exactly.
That's probably why he's selling. He's like 42 of them.
Yeah, there's also 60 at one point. It's moving heavy.
Yeah.
Wait, all right. So Reese, tell us about Recito Creative.
Recito Creative was the dream, baby. Actually, Recito Creative was an agency I started on accident. Truthfully, when I left Mark and it was like my time to kind of mosey on, I was gonna take some time off, I was gonna travel, but when I left, I had all of these companies that I worked with at Mark that were like, yo, come give us that like retail, like the brand and perspective, bring it. So I worked with a bunch of agencies, I worked with some big tech companies that I'm sure everyone knows, but I don't want to mention any names here.
Name one. Name one. One big tech company.
I don't want to. I don't know what my NDAs even look like there anymore. It's been a minute.
Can you see them from this apartment?
Yeah, you can see them pretty close here.
We're in West Chelsea.
Yeah, we walked up here, but
Jeremy's like, we're at 505.
Yeah, exactly. But we did everything.
And it's the tech hub right there.
Yeah, exactly. We're right on it. We went full service. You know, I mean, like just by accident. At the time, I was just trying to figure out what it was. I was acting CMO for a big beauty brand, and they kind of want us doing everything. I had a unique model that we were bringing in, where it's like we can do the content creation at X amount of month. We can do the seeding. We'll do influencer campaigns, like the whole thing. And so we kind of started there. I mean, like some of the tech companies just wanted me to come on to like run and like help them come up with what their experiential would be, and like basically exactly what you're talking about, like how do we create experience. It was actually on the Highline.
It's awesome. It sounds like
it was like how do we get people to take photos with our camera with the new lens.
Right. It sounds like what you want to be doing.
Well, exactly. I mean, like it's, you know, like I like to say that I live like right at the crossroads of basically content, experiential, and innovation. Like those are the pieces I like. I like running the campaigns. I'm really good at concepting and ideation. Tech's like central to anything I do because, listen, that's where life is, right? Like everyone's on social. It's TikTok today. It's gaming tomorrow. We just keep moving. So, yeah, that's where I want to be, and like that's what we did. But we did have a model that was pertinent at the time, and what's happening now is that like social happened. No matter how bad brands didn't want it to, and they want to maintain their brand image, like that wasn't working anymore. People didn't want to see a polished ad. They wanted to see a person making authentic, quote unquote, content. And that's what we did. We brought in like cheaper, easier, more assets. We created content factories for you, and it's like instead of paying, you know, $100 grand for your 3 images for 3 magazines and a couple alt takes, we were doing 20 grand for 100 assets and 30 videos, and you know, cutting it 10 different ways so that you got this like big suite of content so you can fuel 10 channels instead of 1.
Right.
Yeah, but I also think like the 3 images for $100,000, those are going to magazines that are sitting on the barbershop counter for
Well, exactly.
for 3 months versus one of the 100 images that you're taking. That's a swipe. I mean,
Well, and engagement.
might see a
all
little bit
the
more
things,
faces
right?
and more eyes, but it doesn't last as long.
Sure, but it's all bleeding together now, right? I mean, you look at, now it's all digital advertising, right? I mean, sure, there's still print, but at the same time, what you're seeing is like people are leading in with like an influencer content that then becomes the real ad, then becomes the printed piece.
It's interesting.
Street casting,
Where's
relatable faces.
Where are we going to be in a year from now?
Good question. I mean, I think you're gonna see a lot less, I think you're gonna start seeing a lot more relatable faces and models you don't know, just across the board. I think you're gonna see people, you know, and obviously like, diversity is super important now, so you can't really have a face regardless of what it is. I mean, a lot of my brands, we had the thing where we had, you know, the massive multi-million-dollar contracts with the huge celebrity, but like if you don't like that one celebrity and you see them, like you kind of are off-put on the PDP, on everything. If you have a thing that shows you 5 faces and like you can relate to one, right? You're more likely to get that like first hook in to be like, oh, well, interesting, like that's kind of more like me. I can see something like that. You're not off-put by like the actual just natural habitat of like, do I like this celebrity or not?
So brands are going to be bringing in people who are more relatable and becoming a lot more diversified.
Yeah, and I think you're already seeing it. Like if you look at ads now, there's like a ton of people and they may still have celebrities, which, you know, I'm certainly not saying celebrities are going away. I think they're super important. And again, pendulum swing, I think maybe more important than ever. But I think that what you're seeing is them with a bunch of models or with street cast people even. I mean, you see a lot of these brands, it's like real people, real solutions, you know, you're seeing different body types, different skins, different skin issues. You're not afraid to see acne on a skincare ad anymore. Retouching's dead.
I remember the first Dove campaign where it's the heavyweight,
Exactly.
heavy set models.
Yeah, real faces, real people, right? And that's what people want. They want to see people who look like them, and that's like easier to shop at. Again, like bringing that kind of conversion scale down, you're more likely to get it from a friend or someone who does. I mean, like, I work in makeup now, right? There's so many different ways to express yourself. It's all about expression, but like the definition of beauty changes, right? Like you could be a goth and your whole crew is goth and you're loving this black makeup look that other people are like, oh, what's that? Or you could be that super preppy crew and like the old traditional and they're like, oh, like that's so goth. But like the thing is, they both sell the thing. You can do the same product for those 2 different groups and it hits a different way, right?
Yep. I love it.
I'm curious, like 5 years ago, I was spending so much money on Facebook advertisements. I hadn't spent a dime on Facebook advertisements.
Were you seeing an ROI on it?
I don't think that type of exposure on Facebook.
Do you think you were doing
right?
Do you think you were doing it because you're supposed to be doing it? You're doing it because it's something that you hadn't done before and you were told this is where this is the direction that it's gone, not where it's going. This is the direction that it's gone. So here's where I need to.
That was the only social media platform. Facebook, or, you know, think 8-10 years ago, Instagram didn't exist. TikTok certainly didn't exist.
Right, exactly.
Now that's sort of moved to Instagram and TikTok, and I'm curious where. I guess everybody asks the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Is TikTok gonna be around forever? Is Instagram gonna be around forever?
I mean,
Facebook's on the.
I think they're gonna be around. Like, listen, when you talk about the paid media end of it, like, there's almost no brand that doesn't still want that, right? Because, and it's a traditional thing, so it gets tricky. Like, I don't perfectly know how to answer this because I wouldn't cut any of that yet because it still makes money. You can still do the math easy, and I think that that's something interesting. That it's literally like spend this, make this. Okay, if I kick it up and spend a little bit more, I make a little bit more, and you can literally like eye it. Like, you don't even have to be a data scientist to be like, okay, like our ROI basically evened out here. That's where we max out our spend to make the most money, right? And I think that like it's changing a little bit because that money is not working as hard anymore because it's so aggressively cluttered, and they're also serving up you, and you may get the click there, but then they're like, oh, you know what, I don't want, or I'll find something cheaper. And then if you're the user on that, you're getting hit with that same thing 10 times from 10 brands. Like I was just looking at a weight set. I want to get one of those ones where you can like at home switch it to different weights, you know? But I looked at one and I'm like, well, that's too expensive. Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the first one I looked at, but like just by clicking that, I'm getting hit with 50 iterations of it, right? And this one looks a little sexier, and this one's got more circular, which I feel like is better for the handhold, and like, but you're getting hit, and that really clutters your market and decreases your dollar, right? I think to your point, it's tough because everyone could get really comfortable there, especially like corporate people who are like very set in their ways, and it's about the spreadsheet and not the output as much, and you're kind of seeing that like dollar in, dollar out. I think now it's like I have this budget, do I want to spend it on Facebook, TikTok, out of home, wild posting, and getting really smart, because like if you want to break things, you got to test the new thing, right? At the beginning, people got in at the beginning of TikTok, the ROI with that was outrageous because they were trying to get that you know, media spend out there, get people knowing about it. They were trying to help your campaigns more, and that was the same with Facebook at the beginning. So I think it'll be interesting, like, it's really about where you want to take that level of risk as a company, because the biggest wins are going to be with the new platforms that come out. Like, there's going to be something after TikTok. I don't think TikTok's going away. I don't think Instagram or Facebook's going away. I don't think they'll look the same next year. I don't think they'll look anything the same in 5. Instagram this year said we're not a photo sharing app anymore, we're a video sharing app, right? That's the change in the marketplace, and that's partially because of the TikToks. Like, there's a new format. You know, Instagram had stories, but it wasn't the same as TikTok, and now they're doing reels. It's all getting real close because there's a bit of a pissy match, and everyone wants to get on that user behavior.
Love it. And there is still YouTube and podcast sponsorship.
That's right. There's still podcasts are blowing up. Don't get me wrong, right?
Our sponsor for this week, which is True Beauty Brooklyn, which are in Greenpoint and Williamsburg, the best estheticians in all of New York City. Go follow them. Reese, it was a pleasure having you on.
Pleasure being here. Thanks for having me, baby.
Jeremy,
As always, thank you.
we didn't get to dive into too much of what you've been up to or how you got to where you are, but I think we'll have you back here.
Jeremy, thanks for showing us the amazing place. This place is ridiculous.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me, everyone.
So if they want to find out more information on this home, where do they
It's
find
simple. You can go to any social handle at the Swillinger team. Hope to see you there.
it? Amazing.